Greetings, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. Today is I'll broadly share with you about the series. So this is the third series. So every year we run a webinar series with roughly 6 to 8 webinars. And this is the fifth episode of the season 3 of this webinar series. The broad focus of these series is to uh, discuss different aspects of circular economy, discuss extended producer responsibility and related principles, and most importantly, discuss how do we implement these systems in India. And amongst the whole series, we have had multiple dialogues till now. Today, the focus is on circular. So the series is called Circular Future in Action. And it is sponsored by a few brands, namely Apple, Dell Technologies, Cisco, and Canon India. The primary focus is to debate and discuss the complexities that exist in waste management. And there are multiple complexities. And the answers to a lot of these complexities sometimes lie in policy solutions, at other times in technology-based solutions, and in many cases in behavioral changes which are required for the changes to happen. So today, we are extremely delighted to be joined by 4 panelists, 3 of whom come from regulatory background, which is a great thing today. And our discussion will discuss different aspects of how does one bring in the large change at a country level. What is it that can be done immediately? What is it that can be done in the long term? So let me start with a short introduction of the panelists that are there today. First, I'd like to introduce Mr. Ankuran Pathak. He is presently working as a AE in Pollution Control Board of Assam. He has interest areas in environmental engineering and waste treatment and solid waste management. As an engineer at Pollution Control Board Assam, he has been part of the board's waste management cell and deals with matters pertaining to hazardous waste management, e-waste management, and battery waste management. Welcome, Mr. Ankuran, to this panel. Second, I'd like to introduce Mr. C. Krishnamoorthy. Mr. C. Krishnamoorthy is a retired senior environmental engineer from the Andhra Pradesh Pollution Control Board, where he served for 34 years. He graduated from SV University College of Engineering, Tirupati in 1984 and went on to complete his postgraduate studies in environmental engineering from Anna University. So he also serves as an expert member in the State Expert Appraisal Committee of Andhra Pradesh. Welcome, sir. Welcome to the panel. Then I'd like to introduce Mr. Ashok Kumar Yadav. Mr. Ashok Kumar Yadav is the officer on special duty at the State Pollution Control Board, Ranchi. Originating from Begusarai, Bihar, he possesses a background in chemical engineering and a PGE diploma in environmental engineering. He started his career as an environmental engineer at State Pollution Control Board, Dhanbad, and progressed to be a regional officer in Hyderabad. Following his retirement in March 2024, he took the role of the officer on special duty. Welcome, sir. Welcome to this panel. And then finally, I'd like to introduce Mr. Anoop from CMET. So Anoop works as a research fellow at the Center for Materials for Electronics Technology, Hyderabad, on the establishment of Center for Excellence on E-Waste Management, which is a project sponsored by Ministry of Electronics and IT. He focuses on material science, on e-waste recycling, with a very specific dedicated focus on lithium-ion battery recycling. So today we have again a very diverse, sort of expertise in the group, and we also have a whole range of people who will be joining as audience. I will request all audience to share your questions in the chat window so that we can take it up. And the primary discussion that we want to do today is around what are the approaches that different people and different people who are working in, whether it is in industry, whether it is from a technology point of view, or from most importantly from a regulatory point, what are the different roles that people are taking to bring in the desired change? So what I would do is I like to invite Mr. Ankuran to share his views. And, I have a few points, Ankuran, which I like to bring up. So we would really like to understand how is Assam Pollution Control Board driving e-waste management in the state. Sales are increasing across all states, e-waste, and that is leading to more and more generation of e-waste. One of the big challenges that we have found, so we work extensively in the Northeast, and one of the biggest challenges is that almost a very significant quantity of waste has to be bought from Northeast to different states for recycling. Apart from that, because of the terrain related issues, it becomes fairly challenging, and it's also very expensive to collect waste. I'm not necessarily talking Assam, but other neighboring states. It becomes a whole challenge, and we are not seeing very very active participation, especially from a producer side, I would say, on creating those very strong collection networks in these states. So, sir, we would really like to hear from you. How are you driving this initiative? What are the success stories that you have created? Challenges that you foresee? Uh, any specific concerns that you would like? Over to you, sir.
Very good afternoon to the esteemed panelists and all the dear viewers. I'm Ankuran Pathak, working as an assistant executive engineer in Pollution Control Board, Assam. Just straight away, I will try to address what Mr. Singhal has asked. In PCBA, we have been trying to, analyze the gap, what all infrastructure available in the recycling and refurbishing arena, and thereby we are trying to promote startup ecosystem, just to augment the startup ecosystem by organizing seminars, workshops, and recently we have organized a waste to wealth seminar wherein we had invited some successful entrepreneurs working in this field. Even recently we have a refurbisher has been authorized by the Pollution Control Board Assam. Even a recycler is almost in the verge of commissioning. Maybe they will be commissioning in December. So we are doing as much as capacity building with all the stakeholders. We are interacting with the bulk consumers to channelize their e-waste to recycling and refurbishing, registered recyclers and refurbishers. That is all what we are doing. Apart from that, we have a whole plan of awareness activities with schools. Recently, we have taken up a collaborative program with an NGO. We are planning to organize awareness meetings in 50 schools of Assam. Apart from that, we have been we are reaching out to different technological institutions like IIT. Recently, we had organized a collection as well as awareness drive with IIT Gauhati. Even all premier institutions in this area with TIS and Gauhati University and all. Apart from that, um, uh, we are auditing the producers. Mostly we have importers and assemblers here in Assam. We don't have any huge manufacturers. You are aware of that. So we are auditing their EPR authorization and other related documents. And that is all what we are doing right now. And definitely we have a lot of challenges. Like you have said, the terrain factor is indeed a issue, because uh, we have accessibility issues. So the reverse logistic mechanism from those areas, that is a issue here. So in that case, some maybe the recyclers, they can set up some collection centers in those areas where accessibility is a issue. And yes, again, I just want to highlight that we are in association with some of the recyclers, we are trying to set up e-waste deposition centers. For that, we have reached out to ULBs as well in case of orphan products, so that it can be deposited. And as well as we have also asked the ULBs to set up e-waste, collection and storage facilities within MRF facilities, material recovery facilities, which they are, setting up in their respective municipalities. So that is all what we are doing. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So just to elaborate a bit, so the whole fundamental aspect of bringing an APR in this country was to drive circular thinking, and one of the things that almost every one of us is now trying to do is how do we ensure high quality recycling. So once collection is done, and e-waste has become more and more complex by the day. I mean, for example, we are now trying to figure out solutions for smartwatches, earpods. Tons and tons of this waste is now starting to get generated, very large quantities. Also, because product quality is also not to the mark. I mean, sometimes products, the kind of watches that we are starting to get, sometimes they look that they are not even 6 months old from a manufacturing viewpoint. Uh, so, and these are very, very complex fractions. Opening up a very tiny watch, figuring out where is the battery, what is the component, and then from that maze of materials, how do you recover a copper and an aluminum or different types of materials, including critical raw materials? This is starting to become a very, very challenging task. However, that's the primary goal that is intended from a extended producer responsibility side. So I think while we have a representative from CMET who can throw some light, but these are becoming very interesting challenges. One of the things that I'll also like to bring up is while we are seeing some traction on the collection side of things, very little work has happened from a design perspective at a product level. Because unless we rethink design of the product, sometimes these issues become very, very challenging to tackle. Earpods to become as a very great example of how do you manage this product? How do you recycle the elements which have gotten into such a product? So any things, and again, I understand at this point in time, in the past, there was not even a single recycler in the state or in that territory. So the good news, what you shared, sir, is that, now some recycler is coming. But I think what would also be very important is how do we up the game? And what will be the role of research institutes in your state? So any thoughts on this side, sir? How can we bring that long-term change? I realize, it's very early, considering the existing infrastructure in your state, but any suggestions on this side?
I would just like to highlight that the key challenge what we are facing is that we have the inventory gap. We are not aware what actual generation of the e-waste is. We are just doing an inventorization of the bulk users. But whatever
Okay.
e-waste is lying at the end of an individual, for example, I have a waste laptop, unused end of life laptop at my place, that is not taken into account in the whole inventory. How can we reach out to all individual consumers to get the data? Even for the state of Assam, we don't have much of the producers having their regional offices in Northeast so that we can get the sales data and all. And apart from that, we need to have a proper gap analysis, like what we are generating, how much is to be recycled. What is the recycling that is desired in this part of the country? That gap analysis is yet to be done. So in that case,
Sure.
only we can get the proper picture, what kind of infrastructure we require for certain specific categories, like you have seen for smart watches and all. So in that case, again, under the ambit of the present legislations, as well as after involvement of research institutions like CMET and other leading institutions working in the field of electronics. So in that case, is there a possible way where we can, once product is sold in the market, we can just get the idea how much plastic is there, how much PBBs are there, how much copper, palladium, range and everything for every specific product, say for difficult products like smartwatches and earpods, like you have said, and how can it be extracted? There should be a proper, category-wise recycling, maybe
Yeah. So
potential.
what you are alluding to is actually one of the most difficult challenges as of today. Because one thing is presence of materials. Second is ability to extract those materials. In many cases, there may be, XYZ amount of copper or, some other material or tin, but extraction is a different art altogether because this is now a melee of different materials compounded together. And how do you extract these materials is again, which is now becoming a very, very critical challenge. And especially, as we move forward, we need to solve it. So thank you, sir. I'd like to bring the second speaker, Mr. Krishnamurthy, in the dialogue. So, Mr. Murthy, you have done an amazing amount of work in your state. So if you can share with all of us, what are the critical challenges that you have found, during your time or during your work at Andhra Pradesh Pollution Control Board? What are the best practices that one can look at? Or even if there are no clear best practices, what is the aspirational pathway that you at a state level are looking at? And what is it that can be done in your state, sir?
Yeah, I welcome all the members for this webinar, and I'm sorry that my video is not at all functioning, that micro camera. Number one. See, with regard to, with regard to the e-waste management in Andhra Pradesh, see, we have carried out, when I was in APPCB, we carried out inventory on e-waste 2017 and 2018. Still, that is valid right now. And that Andhra Pradesh is 12,780.33 tons yearly generation. That was the third in the state, I think third in the country. And with regard to the city-wise generation, our Vizag or Vijayawada is not listed in the top 10 cities also. So whatever it may be, what I want to bring is while carrying out the inventory, they are assuming that after 5 years, even if whatever it may be, whether computer or refrigerator or TV, or that will come into the electronic recycling cycle. So they are thinking that one, and inventorizing the entire quantity as a e-waste, whether it is in domestic home or in factory or in whatever repairs. So they are counting like that. See, if you see the generation in Andhra Pradesh, 12,870, but in practically, while collecting, if you see the what do you call the capacities of recycling units present in AP, and it not meeting the even 100 tons or whatever it may be. So even throughout India also, the recycling capacity is 1% only. And when compared to the other countries, we are very less. Why? Because the recycling unit won't get a e-waste from the neighboring industry itself. Okay, that neighboring industry will go for a tendering and you will give e-waste to some other guy, which may be an authorized or unauthorized guy, whatever it may be, through tender system, whatever the best available price is there. So they will give it that one and this one. So the person sitting just neighboring besides to this generator is sitting idle, and that also is getting losses also. That is aware. See, the gap between inventory and generation is very high, and that too, whatever the e-waste generated in this one, it will not coming into the recycling units. And one more thing is, even though 14 dismantling and recycling units are there, they do only dismantling.
Yeah, very true, sir.
And that they would do only dismantling of the e-waste, and the remaining they will sell it in the market or better recycling facilities, whatever it may be. So this is a situation is what is happening in the state or whatever it may be, even in India also.
Yeah, sir, what you are saying is actually largely to across the country. I mean, and I think this is how it is. So most of the recycling is essentially dismantling, or what we call interim recycling, which means
Yeah.
products are dismantled, which is a great step. But beyond that, capabilities are still not there.
Yeah, they are not meeting the installed capacities.
Yeah. So we did, for example, a project with GIZ to just understand different material fractions and what can be recycled. And almost 30-40% of the material today doesn't have possibilities of recycling because that sort of investment has not happened.
Yeah, that's
And
correct.
even sometimes, even with investment, these fractions remain commercially unviable to recycle. So somewhere someone has to subsidize these very, very challenging
Yeah.
fractions so that it can be managed.
Yeah, that's correct,
So,
sir. One more thing is, see, we need to educate the generator, whatever it come, whether it is like a citizen or bulk consumer, whatever, whoever it may be. We have to educate through series of this seminar like this and all. We have to educate this one. They should deposit the e-waste generated from their source at the recycling facility, or at least a backdrop loss, whatever it may be. That should be, you have to inculcate the culture of depositing the e-waste in certain designated areas. That is not happening in India.
yeah. So again, like you said, it's in some way, it's only the financials which drive uptake of this material. So almost everyone is today auctioning their waste or giving it to the highest bidder. That remains a trend.
Yeah, that
And
is right.
majority of these transactions, especially at government institution levels, or in many facilities, happens via MSTC as a platform. But once it has been auctioned, what happens to the material, what is the quality of
Yeah,
recycling, the dialogue on quality is absolutely absent. I think one of the big things that state pollution control boards will have to drive, that while EPR implementation is important, at the end of the day, what matters is the quality of recycling, because even if a kilogram is collected but not recycled well, if we do not have the technology, and we may not have, such plants across the country, they may be far and few, but still the quality of recycling should start becoming uh, very, very critical today in the value chain.
yeah.
So, but thank you,
Yeah,
sir. Thank you.
as you said, sir, that is a clear cut. What you called opinion is, you should have a generator, recycler, moderator, or regulator. The meetings are regularly happening, should happen, so as to have a better recycling in the country.
Sure, sir.
Yeah. So
Let me
and
bring in.
one more thing is, whatever it may be, you have to what you call the direct the pollution control boards, or it may be, they have to conduct regular contact, regular meetings with the generators or bulk consumers, so as to give the waste to the recycling units present in their system, at least in their state itself, or whatever it may be, for recycling,
Yeah.
whatever,
So
as much as possible.
actually, one of the challenges, so we have been talking and working with a whole range of state pollution control boards. And one of the big challenges that has also come across is how do we build capacities of even state pollution control boards to audit such plants? Because this is after a point, I mean, beyond dismantling, this becomes fairly complex. It
Yes.
requires understanding of metallurgy to an extent, but how do we systematically make it so simple that higher quality auditing is possible? One is able to figure out, is extraction even happening, not happening? Is the data right? Today, all those data is, really unknown. So with this, let me invite Mr. Ashok Kumar Yadav to share his views. So, sir, if you can share again, in a very similar way, what is happening in the state of Jharkhand? How are you driving setups, whether it is setup of collection solutions or infrastructure, considering circularity in mind, that anything which is collected is truly recycled, goes back in the economy. Your views, sir.
Okay, good evening, sir. Myself, Ashok Kumar Yadav, OSD, Jharkhand State Pollution Control Board. Ranchi. I would like to say that the quantity of hazardous e-waste generated during 2021 to 2022 is 366.71 metric ton per year, and in the financial year 2022 to 2023 is 869.779 metric ton per year. So having a large quantity of e-waste but it is only foresee that this is the large quantity, but in proportion to the generation,
Yeah.
it is very, very less. 1 or 1 point something % only. For the management and disposal of this much quantity of e-waste, the awareness is very, very much required in Jharkhand, as well the number of collection centers will be increased, as well as it should be communicated to the bulk consumer to give their e-waste to the registered recyclers only. Jharkhand State Pollution Control Board is doing for the awareness various works. We have taken various initiatives to curb pollution and build awareness among common people. JSPCB has launched a series of awareness building activities and organized several events to reach to all stakeholders. JSPCB envisages to create awareness among the people, especially among the students, about the hazard of e-waste and to be conscious to mitigate the hazard. At several occasions, we are building the awareness, like we have made the awareness program at Jasova Mela. In that occasion, JSPCB organized a quiz competition among the students of school and college, interviews and interactive with public to create awareness e-waste management.
Yeah, sir, if I were to just ask, so one of the big challenges, and I come across this many, many times in my dialogues. Today, all of us feel pollution in our daily lives. I mean, you walk out of the door, the air quality tells the whole issue. I mean, today, awareness for me, awareness creation is no longer a, thing that people are not aware. Almost everyone is getting so severely hit by pollution in their daily lives. Just walk out of the door. If we look at our news channels, if we look at the reports, it's all out there. The thing is this awareness really converting to action? And can we use regulatory mechanisms at times to bring momentum to that from inaction to action? And I think that's where, so while a lot of us have been focusing on awareness, I think today it has gone a lot beyond how do we bring a lot more action to this field. And that action is what we are finding missing. You mentioned, for example, about collection centers. One of the things that we are starting to notice since last year, when the rules were changed, nowhere collection centers are being discussed. Almost, a very large number of collection centers are being closed because there is no requirement in the law. So, and we as an organization are also seeing this, that collection can happen on its own. I mean, for some reason, in the new set of rules, collection has just been forgotten, that it's an important aspect of recycling. And it has had dramatic implications, especially in difficult territories, because no one wants to go to difficult territories anymore, because that will cost more. And there is no cost indifference, from different states. So whether you do it from A or B or C, the cost is the same. So anything, if you can talk a little bit about how at a state level are you making this, convert from dialogue to action? Because I think we are at this such a strong crisp of, in a space where if we do not act now, then we will get into a very challenging position. So any suggestions, sir?
Sir, being a regulatory body, we have directed the bulk consumers to give their e-waste to the recyclers only, as well as we are in close touch and frequent doing inspection of the recyclers, and as well as make the awareness program also, because the recyclers claim that from rural areas, no e-waste materials are coming.
Hanji, bilkul.
They are selling to the hawkers, which give more and more price.
बिल्कुल. I think ये जो आपने बात बोली है सर, ये पूरे इंडिया में I think we are also seeing these patterns, क्योंकि hands exchange होता है and the purchasing power is lower in rural, so a lot of electronic products in second or third life ends up being in non-urban parts of the country, and वहाँ पे ना तो recycling solutions है ना collection systems हैं.
That's why we are focused on awareness program more and more. If the people will be aware, then they will give their e-waste to the recyclers only. Otherwise, they sold either on higher prices.
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल.
See the problem.
Yeah. So let me also, sir, then bring Anoop into the discussion. Anoop, you work at CMET, and batteries consumption is growing by the day. I understand that you specifically focus on batteries recycling, and अब बैटरी हर चीज में है. आप किसी भी चीज में बात करो, आज के डेट में हर चीज में बैटरी जा रही है. From a earpod to a watch to a shoe to a t-shirt, every single thing, and with more and more IoT devices coming into being, with more and more AI coming into play, I think pattern यही रहेगा कि बहुत ज़्यादा बैटरी की consumption बढ़ेगी. So Anoop, any suggestions, any things that you'd like to bring from your experience कि कैसे इसको सोचा जाए? How do we solve this problem at a massive scale?
Yes, sir. So basically, we are having a proven technology of battery recycling, which is lithium-ion battery recycling. So
So
we are able
Anoop,
to
I would
recover.
just request when you use the term proven, also think commercially viable at all
Yes, sir.
times. So one
Yes,
is
sir.
research based proven. Second is no,
Yes.
it is at a, let's say, a stage of 6 or 7. I mean, there are these technology grades where it becomes
TRL level.
commercialized.
Yes,
So
sir.
what grade are we really talking here?
So we are nearly talking a grade of 6. We have a TRL level of 6.
Okay.
And we also have a technology transfer. We have transferred this technology to across India. Almost 20 industries have taken us, and few of them have started the black mass production. They are into this phase of recycling also. So we could recycle around, we can recover around 98% of nickel, cobalt, and manganese contents from the lithium ion battery, whereas the recovery efficiency of lithium is a bit low. It's closing to 70%.
Okay.
So this is and coming to the challenges which we are facing, because looking at the current scenario, the number of EV vehicles are coming at a higher range. So the battery usage used in this EV vehicles are a bit different. They are of LFP category.
Yes.
So recycling these kind of batteries is not that commercially viable. So
Okay.
in order to promote the circular economy, we need to come up with a technology where we can directly synthesize this cathode active material so that they'll have a direct application. So this is what we are looking for LFP, and the primary challenge I would say would be sorting out this kind of batteries, because if you look at type of the chemistries used in batteries, there are NMC, LCO, and LFP. Of course,
Yeah.
keeping aside LFP, the processing cost of LCO is very less because it hardly consists of lithium and cobalt. There is no nickel, there is no manganese. So the usage of the starting materials also will be decreased. So consecutively, the production cost will be also coming down for LCO batteries. So sorting these kind of batteries is a major challenge. We are also looking forward
So,
for an
Anoop, just a second. When you say sorting of these batteries, अब जैसे हमने products खोले, let's say, and I'm just bringing it in very layman terms so that everyone gets it. So, a battery निकली phone से, laptop से, watches से, small, large. I'm not going to car batteries. I'm leaving them out for the time being. But in batteries में, sometimes it could be a chemistry, another times it could be chemistry. पता कैसे चले? मतलब how do people even get to know this? And even for recyclers, this is a nightmare. I mean, for me, it's a big design challenge that one has to think.
Yes, sir. It's a big, and that's the challenge. That's the challenge point of this. We have primarily tested a few similar kind of batteries. For example, if we'll take a particular company of Apple, and whatever batteries is coming out of that, we found that it is having a composition of NMC. Let us say NMC. So it would be better if we like design something kind of AI sorting machine, like you input a picture saying that this is Apple battery, and based upon that, if we'll design a machine so that it can sort out these kind of batteries. Of course, it may not be 80% accurate, or we can sort up to 70% of batteries can be sorted. It may not be 100% efficient, but such kind of sorting will surely help recyclers for a better understanding. Like if they are having, if the LCO type of batteries are completely sorted out, then the recycling cost will come down by a huge margin. And the outcome will also be better because you'll be getting cobalt with a very high purity because there are no other metals to contaminate it.
So Anup, मेरे को एक चीज और बताइए, and this is we also work fairly closely with CMET in multiple capacities. So एक बहुत बड़ा जो चैलेंज है, एंड यहाँ पे 3 स्टेट पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड्स के वी हैव रिस्पेक्टिव पीपल. सो वन ऑफ द बिग चैलेंजेस एट स्टेट लेवल इज कि कैसे पता चले कि किसी रिसाइकलिंग प्लांट में सही में काम हो रहा है या खाली पेपर पे कहा जा रहा है कि हो गया. एंड यू आर वेरी वेल अवेयर ऑफ दिस प्रॉब्लम दैट क्लेम्स बहुत सारे हैं, बट कितना रिसाइकल होता है, एंड देन रिसाइकल होने के बाद वन ऑफ द बिग चैलेंजेस दैट आई आल्सो अंडरस्टैंड इज कि वो सेल कहाँ होगा. सो are there also possibilities for institutions like yours to do capacity building of state pollution control boards so that they are able to differentiate, they are able to focus on high quality, they are able to differentiate technologically?
So as of now, I don't think we would be able to help such things because we cannot interfere much into pollution control board. But all that we can give is like whatever the effluence that is being generated with our technology, we can give a result of that.
Okay.
So that
So one can then back calculate.
Yeah, they can back calculate it.
Okay. So yeah, Anoop, anything else that you wish to share, throw some more light on, on recent activities that CMET is doing to drive these initiatives? There's a whole range of things which are happening.
Yes, sir. So basically, we have 4 verticals of e-waste recycling, which is PCB, then solar panels, end of life solar panels, and spent permanent magnets, apart from batteries, lithium-ion batteries. So currently, we have floated the technology of LIB, and soon the solar as well as the spent permanent magnets, they'll be also floating their technology. The results have come out good. So most probably we can expect it by next year or maybe in the early 2026. So with that, I guess many more recyclers will come into the picture, because the industries which have taken the technology of LIB, they were equally interested either in magnets or solar panels. So with that, more amount of recyclers, we are expecting more amount of recyclers to come in to recycle such products and then recover the valuable metals.
Yeah. And Anoop, if you can also share ki one thing is recycling, second is the quality of output of that recycling, and which has been a huge challenge. So, do you also want to throw some light? Because बहुत बार what I hear from a lot of recyclers is कि we are unable to sell the material in the market जो extract हुआ है recycling से.
Yes, sir. So I can throw some light on batteries, the products which are recovered from batteries, sir. The end products being lithium carbonate, we have a very good purity of 99.5%. This finds direct application in pharmaceutical industries. Even if you are able to get a purity around 99.8, things like lithium carbonate or maybe lithium hydroxide, they can directly be used in cathode active material preparation. That is the battery material. And coming to manganese, the purity, we have not concentrated on its purity because manganese is abundantly available in India. So the purity, once we go for purification of manganese, the production cost will increase, and ultimately it doesn't match the selling cost, the selling price of manganese.
Sure.
So the manganese, we haven't concentrated much. Coming to cobalt and nickel, we have a very good purity of 99%, sir. But then we are also trying to make cathode active materials directly from the recovered materials, because that is how we can promote circular economy. You recycle the products from battery, recover the materials, and then it should have an application in the battery itself again. It should go directly into the battery.
Sure. Thank you.
So that
Thank
is
you.
what we are working.
Yeah, no, this is very helpful to know for the whole audience. Krishnamoorthy ji, you have just raised your hand. So do you want to share some other points, please? And I would really encourage the whole group. This is an open panel. Please add, wherever you think you wish to.
I want to ask one question from CMET.
Yes, sir.
What is the composition of EV battery?
So the composition of batteries used in electric vehicle, they are of LFP kind, which is lithium, iron, and phosphate.
Okay. Okay. So I was told in some other platform, the silver is being used abundantly for electric vehicles. Is it so correct?
No, sir. To the best of my knowledge, I guess it's not being used, because this is the major chemistry which we find.
Okay. See, even silver prices also gone normally high from 60 to 90, 99 is going on. No? So it almost all touched 1 kg, 1 lakh, only because of these semiconductors and EV vehicles.
Yeah. So I would just like to build up on what Mr. Murthy said. So in the present version of the rules, gold has been identified as a material to pick. But जहाँ पर भी gold है, वहाँ पर हमको silver भी दिखता है, वहाँ पे हमको tin भी मिलता है, copper भी मिलता है. So for example, let's pick up printed circuit boards. Today, on an average, a CPU का जो printed circuit board है, it contains roughly 50 to 70 ppm of gold. What it means is almost 50 gram to 70 gram in a full ton of just printed circuit boards. So, and this is, very large quantity of material is to be collected, and printed circuit board in turn खाली 3 to 5% है एक पूरे product में. So essentially, when we talk of, extraction of precious metals, the quantum that has to be done is quite large. And the good thing is CPCB has promoted targets. What we are, however, seeing is that a very large amount of gold is being suggested that is being recovered, but I don't see that amount of printed circuit boards because it's a complex process. Recycling of printed circuit boards, it has its own challenges. So it is very important to figure out what are the right technologies, how are they being deployed. I believe the solution that CMET has developed, not I believe, I've seen it many times, is pyrometallurgy based solution. So you start with smelting of a printed circuit board, you manage the emissions in a very, very, very thorough way because the off gases are very toxic from that sort of operation. Then you use a hydrometallurgy to extract the materials. From a deployment point of view at a country level, there are hardly any recyclers where these sort of systems at a commercial scale are deployed. I'm not talking of a small scale. But how do we, as stakeholders, as enforcement agencies, as civil society organizations, how do we drive this so that these sort of units start coming up? Anoop, are you seeing any traction on this side, or are you seeing, for example, when I go on the CPCB portal, I see already, some recyclers are doing 20 kilograms of gold. Another is saying 8 kilograms of gold. I haven't seen, what kind of technologies have been deployed to achieve these numbers, but these numbers have started cropping up in very, very large quantities. And that's why I think it becomes an enforcement issue that can this actually be done with the basic technologies that people claim it can be? So any experiences that you wish to bring?
So in experience, I don't have such kind of experience. I haven't seen it personally.
Okay.
Sir, I would like to tell one thing is 𝐸 is the one guy extracting gold and silver also from e-waste.
Yeah, so both CMET, I can speak on behalf of CMET also here. So CMET as well as Karo Sambhav, both of us work with 𝐸. What they follow is the hydrometallurgy process, which is you extract surface level gold. And they have some more solutions, but again, the large solutions are still to be built at a country level. CMET has developed some technology in this space. I don't know the grade of, at what TRL level that technology is today. But that is the right way of doing it. What is essentially missing is the large scale deployment. And these are not easy deployments. They will have their own challenges because products keep on changing, printed circuit boards keep on evolving. So how do we ensure that gold, which is today required at a credit level, is being done in the right way, is being managed in the right way? It becomes a very, very strong challenge. And I think institutions like CMET can help in some or the other form in building these capacities across the country. Let me look if there are certain questions that audiences have asked. I'll urge, if there are any questions from the audience, please feel free to park those questions. We can take them up. But anything from Ankuran, if you wish to bring up, post what you have heard, any additional viewpoints, or Ashok ji, if you want to bring up, please feel free to add.
It's great to hear from Anoop the kind of work he is doing in CMET. So yes, definitely. In this part of the country in Northeast, I mean, we don't have that state-of-the-art facilities for recycling and refurbishing. So definitely, if you can come up with some sort of literature which can help PCB and other regulatory authority, what kind of emission control systems are you can prescribe for what kind of technologies. I mean, this is a very evolving thing. Recycling
Sure.
is it's a very evolving field right now. So we also need to gear up for the upcoming challenges. So in that case, if CMET can come up with some kind of literature, I mean, thorough kind of a literature, then definitely it will help us in implementing and facing that kind of addressing that kind of challenges.
No, very true. And sir, what you have just shared is something that I hear all across from pollution control boards, that how do we do better audits? How do we understand, what is the right recycler? Are they using the right technology? Because sometimes these become too technical. And beyond a point in time, it's not easy for everyone to decipher. And this has to be done at a massive level, not just one or two hundreds of officials need to do this on a daily basis. So, and this is also a question which I see coming up from someone in the audience, that how does a PCB approve today a recycler? And in the new world where high quality recycling is in demand, how should these parameters kind of evolve from there? So what are the parameters? I mean, there are three people from pollution control boards. So at present, sir, how do what is the best practice in terms of how do I say, approving a recycler? So are there any specific mechanisms that have been floated which allow you to understand deeply that this recycler is actually going to solve this specific problem, or this is still emerging?
Yeah, with respect to this recycling unit setting up, CPCB has given some certain area to be demarcated for a dismantling area and recycling area.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is there. And one more thing is, see, we will see the capacity wise, are they able to recycle the full length recycling unit, or just dismantling and whatever it may be. See, in our experience, out of 14 units, 12 units are almost all dismantling units only. Only one or two are recycling units. In that recycling units also, 𝐸 is a full scale recycling unit. That means extraction of
Yeah.
metals also is being done by this one. And others, only a partial recycling. They don't recycle it to the extent of what 𝐸 is doing right now.
Very
Okay.
true.
So in that case, we'll see the unit operations involved in the recycling unit, and whether it is or affecting the environment or not. So in that case, normally general condition is there while it is 1 kilometer away from village and neighboring areas and all habitation, and that should we will see that. And if that is there, and if the effluents are there, then ETP is there or not, we'll see that. And bag filters and whatever electrodes, whatever it may be, the air pollution control equipment are proposed or not, we'll see that one and then issue the certificate for the recycling unit.
Sure, sir. So the limited points, sir, that I wanted to bring here, that I think we will have to go a couple of steps deeper going forward as we advance towards enabling circular economy, because it becomes very complex after a point in time. Like, how do you get out copper, which is embedded in so many components? It's in the connectors, it's embedded somewhere deep inside, or gold, or any other material for that matter. And beyond, I mean, something can be done using dismantling, something can be done using maybe shredding technologies, but beyond that, it becomes very challenging. And that capacity to even assess is very difficult because it becomes too technical after a point in time.
Yes.
Are there, Ankuran, you shared about IIT Guwahati and your collaboration with IIT Roorkee, and there are great technical institutes today spread across the country. Are we seeing technical institutes coming forward? I know the example from IIT, Triple IT Hyderabad, where CMET has done a collaboration, but are we seeing more research institutes coming forward to do collaboration with pollution control boards? Or are you seeing that at a state level, sir?
Pertaining to other aspect of pollution, like source apportionment studies for air pollution and all. We are collaborating with IIT. As of now, as far as e-waste management is concerned, we're not coming up with any kind of, technology development or any that sort of activity, but we are just, we have recently done a drive wherein we, brought in recyclers, refurbishers, and we organize a awareness sort of a program with the students so that they can come up with innovations and do more research in that field. But as of now, no such kind of technology development process or anything that kind of a task has not been carried out with IIT.
Sure, sir. Thank you. I like to, so we are almost at the end of our webinar. I'll request the panelists if they wish to say something, as a closing remark. Anoop, let me start with you. So I ended with you, but I'll start with you. So any closing remarks for the audience that you'd like to add? Anoop, you're on mute.
I'm sorry for that, sir.
Yeah.
It's been pleasure being a part of this webinar because I'm a budding researcher. I just wanted to know what's happening around and how the e-waste, how the pollution control boards are looking at the e-waste recycling technologies and also it was great connecting with people, sir, especially the panelists. They are esteemed in their respective fields. So it was great, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Anoop. Let me go to Mr. Yadav. Sir, any closing remarks from your side, please?
Sir, these types of instruction should be continued in future also. Like this discussion, we made various points which we will implement in the field, and this will be beneficial for the management of e-waste.
Sure. Sure. Thank you, sir. Mr. Krishnamoorthy, any closing remarks from you, sir?
Yeah. One more thing I want to say is with regard to the what do you call the dialogue between bulk consumers, generators, and recyclers, and dismantle, whatever it may be. See, we initiated 2 or 3 meetings initially in the year 2020 and 21. Afterwards, we didn't have a say on that one, and we initiated it, and we tried to bring that bulk consumers to give the generated waste to the recycling units and all. What they say is they are unable to give on this one. See, they get the information and submit to the auctioneer. That's all. And
Yeah.
the person who is taking the auction doesn't know who is there in the outside. Means other side of the window. Okay, they will go only for during the what you call who is the highest bidder and who is the lowest bidder. That's all. So in that way, they will pass on to this one. So we try to what do you call reduce the gap between the generator and as well as the recycling unit. But we can't achieve more of that one and all. But by one meeting, we could achieve at least who are the consumers available in the state and who are the major generators and all. Okay. So other PCBs also can try to convene the meeting with the bulk and generators, recyclers in one platform and try to sort out what is the differences between them and how it is there. That's my view.
And this is a huge bottleneck. This whole price war on waste is pushing the whole industry down. What is happening is everyone looks at how do I increase my margins when I'm selling waste, and how do I decrease my cost when I'm doing EPR. So both of these things are really pushing the whole space in a very odd way. So, and we see this all the time. So how do we solve this problem? Honestly, I've done so many debates on this, but can't arrive at a solution, because until unless we may bring in some level of technical considerations during the auction, because the only technical consideration, it is the authorized entity by Pollution Control Board, but it has to go a lot beyond that. What is the highest quality of material that they are proposing, that they are extracting? Is that material worthwhile? What are the different measures? So a whole range of things, but today they don't exist. But thank you, sir, for bringing it up. Ankuran, last and most important, to hear your closing remarks before we close.
First of all, I would like to thank Krishnamoorthy sir, Yadav sir, for their stalwarts in the field of pollution control, to hear from them, and definitely Anoop, because it was eye-opening for us, because we deal with all sort of subjects from battery recycling, from air pollution, ETPs and other things. But yes, e-waste, it is a very lot of intricacies are there in case of technologies and advancement in R&Ds and all. So definitely it was eye-opening. And yes, I just want to add to one point that Krishnamoorthy sir has said, that like we have been trying in PCBA to bring in all recyclers, refurbishers, as well as the bulk generators, even the we try to reach out to as many people as possible. So in last year we did a program. It was a week-long program with one of the NGOs, wherein we brought in recyclers, and the NGO, they used to go from household to household, and just to make people aware, and also channelize their e-waste to the recyclers. In that case, we achieved a considerable success, and we were able to in a week's time we were able to channelize around 10 metric tons of e-waste from apartments. I mean, that would have been ended up in those informal sector. So that kind of activity we are initiating, and this year also we are planning it to do in a big way. So that is what I mean, like Krishnamoorthy sir has said, we need to bring all the stakeholders in a single platform, and and this kind of awareness meetings and webinars, and wherein experts from fields like recycling technologies and all can come together, then it will be a grand success in the times to come.
So thank you, Ankuran. So I'd like to really convey my gratitude to all the panelists, Ankuran, Mr. Krishnamoorthy, Ashokji, Anoop. Thank you for coming to the panel and sharing your views. I'll also like to thank the audience for being here. Webinars suddenly have gotten a bit out of fashion nowadays, so they were very high. But really good to see good number of audience participating. I'll also like to say thanks to our sponsors, Apple, Dell, Canon, and Cisco, for enabling this series in this financial year. So thank you so much, and sending all of you best wishes in the transformation exercises that you are doing. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.